Hey everyone, and welcome back. Ready to dive into something big. Today we're tackling personal growth. But don't worry, we're skipping the vague self-help stuff. We're getting right into the nitty-gritty, the actionable stuff you can actually use.
Exactly. We're breaking down those core elements of what personal growth really is. Think setting those SMART goals, building those really strong habits, and actually celebrating your wins along the way, to make those changes last.
So it's like we're giving our listeners a roadmap.
Yeah, like a roadmap.
We start broad, understanding what personal growth actually means, and then we zoom in on those practical techniques.
Yeah, exactly. And like any good roadmap we've highlighted, those common roadblocks people hit. And most importantly, how to navigate them successfully.
One thing that really stood out to me from all the research we did was the emphasis on emotional intelligence. And sometimes I think people think it's just about being nice, right? Like, oh, be emotionally intelligent, be nice to people. But it's got to be deeper than that, right?
Oh, absolutely. It goes way deeper than just being nice. It's about truly understanding your emotions. Like, why do you feel the way you do? And how do your emotions impact how you act? And then being able to see those same things in other people.
It's like you're an emotion scientist.
Yeah, exactly. You can think of it almost like the secret weapon to communicate better and build stronger relationships.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and some of the sources even mention mindfulness and journaling as ways to kind of hone that skill.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
And speaking of fascinating subjects, can we talk about intellectual curiosity for a sec?
Yes.
Because it's like having this built-in thirst for knowledge.
It is. It's the engine of growth, right? And the best part is that it's something that you can cultivate. It's like a muscle you can build.
You can build it.
Yeah. So many of the sources said that.
That's so cool.
Reading, online courses, even having those really thought-provoking conversations, those can all fuel that fire.
It's like constantly feeding your brain with exciting new information.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're emotionally in tune, we're intellectually curious, but we're more than just our minds, right? We've got this whole physical, spiritual well-being to factor in, don't we?
Absolutely. You've got to look at the whole picture. A holistic approach is what we saw in the materials. Taking care of your physical health, like through exercise, a balanced diet, enough sleep, that all directly impacts your mental capacity for growth too.
Oh, for sure. It's like you're taking care of your physical vessel so your mind can really operate at its best.
Exactly. And then there's the spiritual side. Have you explored your values? What do you believe in? It doesn't have to be about religion or anything. It's more about connecting with your purpose. Like, what are you here to do?
It's like your inner compass.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get practical. I love practical tips. And the source talks about setting SMART goals. I love a good acronym. Can you break that down for us?
SMART goals. Oh, they're your compass and your measuring stick all in one. And SMART stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound.
So instead of like a goal being be healthier, it's I want to cook a healthy dinner at home 4 nights a week for the next month, something like that.
Exactly. You've got it. You take that vague idea and you make it something solid, something you can actually work with. And some of the sources even said, think about categorizing those goals.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, like maybe you have career goals, relationship goals, health goals, that kind of thing, just to keep everything balanced.
So it's like building your own personal development portfolio.
I like that.
I love that. Okay, so we set these goals, but then how do we actually stick to them? Building those positive habits. I feel like that's where the real magic happens. What did the source recommend for that?
So there's this simple framework, but it's really powerful, and it's cue, routine, reward.
Okay.
So let's say your goal is you want to start journaling every morning. So your cue could be something like you start brewing your coffee. And then the routine is, you're going to spend a few minutes journaling while you're drinking that coffee. And then the reward is you've had this quiet time to reflect and you're ready to start your day.
And that sets you up for success.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you're kind of like designing your world, those actions to support those SMART goals that we talked about.
I love that. Now, what about tracking your habits?
Oh, yeah.
Because I have to imagine that's a pretty key part of it, right?
Definitely. Tracking those habits is huge. And a lot of the sources mention this. There are a bunch of different ways to do it. You could use a habit tracker. Some people like to journal. There are apps for that too. But basically, having some system to kind of keep tabs on how you're doing can really help you stay accountable. And then you can see where you might need to tweak things if something's not really working.
For sure, for sure.
And then there's this other cool thing too. It's called habit stacking. Have you heard of that?
Habit stacking. Tell me more.
So think about a habit you already have. Like you brush your teeth every morning.
Right, of course.
You just do it, right?
Yeah.
So you take that and then you stack a new habit on top of it, like flossing.
Oh, I see.
So right after you brush your teeth, you floss.
Oh, that's smart.
It's like you're creating these chains of action, and then they just become automatic.
That's such a cool idea. It's just like tricking yourself into, like, adding this positive thing into your routine.
Exactly.
That's really cool. Okay, so we talked about personal milestones earlier.
Yes.
How do those fit into this whole personal growth puzzle?
So personal milestones, you can think of them as those really big, exciting goals, like what really lights you up. Things like writing a book or starting a business, running a marathon.
Those are big goals.
Right.
And they can feel kind of daunting. Like, where do you even start with something like that?
You break it down, right? We talked about that earlier. So you take that big goal and you make it into smaller steps. So say you want to run a marathon. Maybe you start with like, I'm going to run a 5K, and then you work your way up to a 10K. So it's like you're building stepping stones.
So instead of getting overwhelmed by the size of the goal, you just focus on that consistent progress.
Yes.
Those small wins really add up.
Exactly. And, the sources all said it's about the progress, not perfection. Don't be afraid to, mess up a little along the way. And, something else came up a lot, too. An accountability partner, having someone to help you stay on track and cheer you on and, just be there for you when things get tough can make a huge difference.
It's like having a teammate for your personal growth journey. I love that.
Yeah. Oh, celebrating your wins is so important. It's like you're really reinforcing those positive behaviors, and it keeps you motivated. And it doesn't have to be this big thing either.
Yeah.
Just acknowledging what you did and taking a moment to really appreciate how far you've come, that in itself is super powerful.
It's like giving yourself a pat on the back. You've earned it.
Exactly. You did it.
Okay, so we covered a lot. We talked about emotional intelligence, intellectual curiosity, physical and spiritual well-being, setting those smart goals, building those positive habits, achieving those big milestones. What else? What else should our listeners keep in mind on their own personal growth journeys?
So one thing that really resonated with me from the source was the importance of self-reflection, like really taking the time to think about your values, what are your strengths, what are the areas where you want to improve, because asking yourself those hard questions, it can be tough, but it can also be so insightful.
It's like holding up a mirror and really seeing yourself, the good, the bad, all of it.
Yeah.
What other gems did you uncover from the source material?
So this might sound a little strange, but there was a lot of talk about, embracing failure.
Yeah.
Not about avoiding setbacks or anything, but like viewing them as like these stepping stones along the way.
That's a really powerful shift in perspective.
Right.
It's not the opposite of success. It's just part of the journey.
Exactly. Like you're going to fail. It's going to happen,
Yeah.
but it's really a chance to learn and adapt and, try again.
Totally.
And kind of going along with that is cultivating that positive mindset.
Oh, yeah.
The source talked a lot about how powerful it can be to really focus on the positive and to practice gratitude.
It's like you're choosing to see the sunshine instead of the clouds, which can make such a difference. This has been so insightful. I feel like we've covered so much. Emotional intelligence, intellectual curiosity, taking care of our physical and spiritual well-being, setting those smart goals, building positive habits. We even talked about those big milestones we want to hit. Do you have any final words of wisdom for our listeners as they're navigating their own, unique paths to personal growth?
I think the biggest thing to remember is that it's a journey. It's not about reaching this final destination. It's a marathon, not a sprint. And there will be times when you stumble. There might be setbacks, but that's okay. Just embrace the journey, celebrate the progress that you make, even the small wins, and never stop learning and growing. That's the biggest thing. Oh, and one final thought for you to kind of chew on. So we've been talking a lot about, personal growth for ourselves. But what if you could take everything that you're learning and use it to make a positive impact on the world around you? Like, how could you use your personal growth to lift other people up? And make a difference in something bigger than yourself?
That's such a powerful question and a great place to leave it. It's not just about us, it's about the impact we have on others. Okay, everyone, there you have it. Now it's time to take all this awesome knowledge and put it into action. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep striving to be the best version of yourselves.